The Galactic Council had been very clear in their sentencing. Irene watched through the transport's viewport as the planet designated ZX9047 grew larger. Its surface a swirling mass of violent storms and volcanic activity. The planet's official designation in human records was more direct: Hell's Vacation. "They really think this is going to break us," Salvador muttered beside her, his dark eyes reflecting the angry red glow of the planet below. He was the colony's designated engineer, though designated survivors seemed more appropriate given their situation. The Council's judgment had been swift. Humanity had expanded too quickly, asked too many questions, and refused to acknowledge the natural order of galactic civilization. When humans had dared to question why certain species held permanent seats while others were excluded, the elder races had decided to teach them humility. 500 humans, one Hellworld, no support, no rescue. Think of it as a learning experience, the Kelthari judge had said, his crystalline face reflecting no emotion. Perhaps in a few generations, if any of you survive, you will have learned your place. The drop was rough. Irene's stomach lurched as the transport descended through atmosphere that fought them every meter. Lightning arced across the hull, temperature warnings screamed, and then, with a bone-jarring crash, they were down. The first week was chaos. The colonists emerged to find a world that seemed actively hostile to life. The air was breathable barely but thick with sulfurous compounds that burned the lungs. The temperature swung wildly between scorching days and freezing nights. The local fauna consisted primarily of things with too many teeth or stingers the size of a human arm. Irene, as the colony's chief biologist, began cataloging everything that tried to kill them. It was a long list at Salvador, meanwhile looked at the geothermal vents, the constant electrical storms, and the mineral-rich soil with a different perspective. "You know," he said on day 12, standing beside a geyser that shot superheated water 50 meters into the air, "this place has potential." Irene had thought he was joking. She was wrong. Within a month Salvador had rigged the first geothermal generators. The constant volcanic activity that made the planet's surface unstable also provided unlimited power. Within 2 months, he'd figured out how to harvest the rare minerals that formed in the extreme pressure zones, minerals that the galaxy paid premium prices for. Irene made her own discoveries. The hostile fauna had remarkable adaptive proteins. The sulfur-fixing bacteria in the soil could be modified to terraform other worlds. The plants that survived in ZX9047's extreme conditions produced compounds that had immediate medical applications. 6 months in, Irene was synthesizing a cure for Kelthari scale rot from a moss that grew on volcanic rock. Salvador was shipping minerals through an independent freighter captain, who asked no questions about embargoed worlds. 1 year in, the colony wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. "We should send them a message," Irene suggested one evening. They sat in what had once been a barren valley and was now a growing settlement, watching the nightly aurora caused by the planet's intense magnetic field. The same magnetic field that made communications difficult also created light shows that took Irene's breath away. To the council, Salvador grinned. "I've got a better idea." 2 years after humanity's punishment began, the Galactic Council received an official communication from ZX9047. They expected it to be a plea for mercy, perhaps a formal surrender and acknowledgement of humanity's hubris. Instead, they received a glossy tourism brochure, "Visit Hell's Vacation." The opening page proclaimed, "the galaxy's premier extreme tourism destination." The brochure detailed attractions: storm surfing on plasma waves, lava kayaking, wildlife safari danger rating, lethal, natural spas featuring volcanic mud baths, aurora viewing unmatched anywhere in the galaxy. There were testimonials: "I came to see humans suffer and stayed for the adventure sports." Anonymous Kelthari visitor. The medical supplements page advertised the scale rot cure and a dozen other pharmaceutical breakthroughs, all sourced from Hell's Vacation's unique ecosystem. The gift shop offered jewelry made from pressure-formed crystals found nowhere else. The council was not amused. They sent an inspection team. The team leader was a Kelthari administrator who had voted for humanity's exile. He arrived expecting to find broken survivors ready to beg for extraction. Instead, he found Irene giving a lecture to a group of off-world biology students about extremophile adaptation. He found Salvador overseeing the construction of what humans called a roller coaster, a vehicle that ran along magnetic rails powered by the planet's natural field. Reaching speeds that made even the inspection team's pilot nervous, he found a thriving colony of 3,000. Word had spread through unofficial channels. Humans from other worlds had come, ignoring council edicts. Other species came to adventurers, scientists, tourists seeking thrills that sanitized core worlds couldn't provide. This was meant to be a punishment, the administrator said weakly. Irene smiled, her skin tanned and healthy, her eyes bright. It was, and we thank you for it. You gave us a world no one else wanted and told us to make do with it. She gestured at the settlement around them, at the ships coming and going, at the life humanity had carved from stone and fire. So we did. Salvador appeared beside her, wiping grease from his hands. We're actually considering expanding. There's a nice toxic ice world in the Kepler sector that the council classified as uninhabitable. We're thinking of opening a ski resort. The administrator's crystalline face somehow managed to convey horror. That night, the inspection team left. Their report to the council was brief. Recommend immediate reclassification of ZX9047 from penal colony to Class 3 inhabited world. Human population shows no signs of distress. Economic activity exceeds that of several council member homeworlds. Request additional guidance. The council's guidance, when it came, was bureaucratic and face-saving. ZX9047 would be reclassified. Humanity's sentence would be considered served. The planet would be open to general settlement and commerce. They never explicitly admitted their mistake. Politicians rarely do. Irene and Salvador stood together at the settlement's edge, watching ships descend through the storm-racked sky. Each ship brought more people, more opportunity, more proof that what was meant to break humanity had only made it stronger. You know what the best part is? Salvador asked. What? They gave us this place thinking we'd fail. Now they have to watch us succeed, and they can't say anything without admitting they were wrong about us from the start. Irene laughed, the sound carrying across the valley. Somewhere in the distance a geyser erupted, a familiar and almost comforting sound now. The planet that was supposed to be humanity's grave had become its triumph. Hell's Vacation, she said, where humans go to prove we're too stubborn to die. Salvador raised his drink, locally brewed from modified volcanic bacteria, surprisingly smooth. I'll toast to that. And as the twin moons rose over a world that should have killed them, humanity did what it always does. It survived, adapted, and turned punishment into opportunity. The tourism brochure's tagline said it all. Hell's Vacation, come for the punishment, stay for the view.